Do you have any announcements?
We have two quick comments. Russ, do you want to say something?
Just a reminder about the peer comments. They were really excellent yesterday, so just log into that and keep giving your own suggestions, comments, contacts, and so on.
Yeah, you guys definitely won the cake for a room that was being interactive with each other, so thank you, all of you, for participating with each other and helping each other out. And please continue that sort of pattern. I appreciate that, and I know we all noted that together collectively, so great job on that. I don't think I have any more announcements. I'm just curious to see what happened.
Okay.
We'll just see.
All right, so as a reminder, we do want all 3 team members to join us up front. So that would be the entrepreneurial lead, the principal investigator, and the mentor, so the 3 core members. You have 10 minutes, and I'll give you a 2-minute warning and a 1-minute warning. Okay. To flip through the slides, is that one on the right? Terrific. And you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, so we went out yesterday and did 5 interviews. One of the things that was a focus for yesterday's interviews was...
so 5 interviews?
Yes.
In person?
There were, let's see, 3 of them were in person and 2 of them were by Google Hangout.
Very good. Good job.
And one of the focuses for us was on talking to people of color, because ed camps historically have had some people of color, but not as many. And so 3 of the 5 interviews yesterday were with people of color. And I changed this slide to try and show you some of the what participant-driven means, since that seemed to be sort of a bit of a confusion. I put up a session board that shows that it sort of generated it on the day to try to explain a little bit more about what EdCamp is about. And then I ended up changing our module a bit to try to identify more clearly who it is that we're talking to.
So real quick,
yeah.
I know we talked about this in office hours last night. I can see that. I appreciate the difference here. This is for everybody. As you make changes, please put them in LaunchPad Central. I know.
Sorry, they are.
They are? I'm looking at your canvas right now.
Okay, my apologies. I thought I put them in both places.
It's okay. I mean, this is a Cluji system. It's not perfect. It's fine. But I didn't say that. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, but in reality, making the point, if it does not exist here, especially from here on now, it does not exist. Okay. And I don't want to see any more the other canvases. I want to see this up there.
Oh.
I'm just future reference. Everybody can know. Let's go.
So this slide from now, I mean, if I was doing a slide, should be a screenshot of the
Correct.
canvas.
Yes. You can download it.
You can download it and pull it out.
Export it.
Oh, okay. I've exported it. I just didn't realize that's what you wanted.
Let's move on.
Okay, sorry.
You can talk about it later. It's fine.
Okay. So one of the big takeaways that we had yesterday in talking to people of the 3 people that we talked to was that to reach out into the communities of to get diversity, that a lot of those the people who had ended up coming to EdCamps had come due to personal invitations. And so we're going to be thinking about ways that we can find out who to invite and then invite them. And one of the people that we talked to offered to be a go-between so that we could get more impact into those communities and invite those people to be organizers as well. And so then we worked on thinking about our customer segment and what are some of the pains that our customers have, that people who organize ed camps especially have, and people who come have. And so one of our key ones is this organizer burnout that I talked about yesterday. And then the other part of it is, for the participants, the fact that a lot of professional development is like this, someone standing in the front and talking at you rather than collaborative and engaging. And so that's one of the things that EdCamp seeks to change.
Yeah, so engaging. What does that mean to the customer? What does engagement look like to them? Explain this in terms of their pain. You mentioned their pain points.
That they participate rather than they sit and are talked at.
Okay, so for them, what does participation look like? What do they do? What's important? What's the value for them in the doing that they do?
Okay, so it's that they have choice in the sessions they want to go to, and they're part of the conversation. So that should be.
Okay, so
explain
those would
that
be
more.
features of the product, and we'll talk about this in the session. But what is the value of participating? Because I could imagine that participation in something could be horrible, or it could be fantastic. So participation doesn't clarify what the value is to the customer.
It's basically based on models of learning that when people engage
That's a feature. What does the customer get out of participating? What joy do they get out of it? What value do they get?
They get, I mean, it actually is the fact that they are part of it, that that their expertise is recognized, that they are learning from their peers.
Okay, they get recognition. That's a value to some people, all right?
Right.
They get affinity by being part of a group. That could be a value to somebody. Do you see what I mean?
Yes,
The
I see what you mean.
Participation doesn't clarify that.
Okay.
And I would add one more thing. Just think about it. So we just extracted 2 values potentially for them. You're going to want to double check that as you continue to talk with people. Imagine they're having a conversation. They're chatting each other up in an elevator.
Right.
They're not going to talk in terms of the shop. They're not going to talk in terms of the larger terminology. They're going to talk about, man, I loved this because I felt X. It's going to be a much more emotional response to what the value is. So think of it in those terms.
Okay. Terrific. And so then so that's the connections. And then the other ones is that this attempt to build the community both of organizers and of participants, and then to take away the stresses that come to organizers as part of all of this. And let me see. So then these are some of the programs that we've already developed or in the process of developing. The partnership program is if you're a new organizer, you can get in touch with experienced organizers and they will walk you through the process. So if you have any questions, any concerns, we have someone there to talk to you. So it gives a personal relationship for new organizers.
Okay. Back to value propositions.
Okay.
This is what you'll have to change based on what we just talked about.
Okay.
So partnership program is a feature, not a value.
Oh, okay.
EdCamp in a box is a feature.
Feature, not a value.
Not a value.
Okay, so
What is the value of it being in a box? What is the value of that program? That's what
I'm going to build on this a little
Okay.
bit. As you, like, with partnership programs, and this gets into the other elements of the campus, right? So, for example, a partnership program could be your customer relationship that enables you to solve a pain with a customer segment. So as you guys start evolving through the canvas, I mean, I think I get where you're heading with this, but as you guys start thinking about the canvas, make sure they start getting plugged in the right places, because that actually sort of builds the canvas around what it is you're working on. So to Russ's point, partnership program in and of itself is not
a value.
a value proposition.
Okay.
Unless there's some other trick pony I'm not aware of. I mean, partnership programs are how you manage your customers and keep them engaged, right?
Right.
So
So that's customer relationships. So just
Yeah,
so
no, it's- I
partnership
think-
program is not a pain reliever by itself. It could be a pain causer. We don't know,
Okay.
right? I mean, it could be a real pain to be in a partnership program.
Yeah.
You're not telling us what the value is.
Okay, and that was my misunderstanding when I was looking at understanding what you meant by pain relievers. It was, I was
know
being too specific, I was being too
we have
concrete.
to infer that is a value.
Yes.
But we want you to state it
Okay,
based on what the customer says, not what you think.
okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Did any of your customers say, we really want a partnership program?
yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
Yesterday, we had people talk, they really wanted, the organizer summits they talked about regional managers.
But why did they want that?
because of the connections that would create for
Okay,
them.
connections is the value.
Connectivity.
Being part of something,
Okay.
okay?
And which, if I go back to this slide which I didn't change with having done that work, it has more of that creating a learning environment and but I'll add, I see what you're saying.
What's the value again?
Yep.
That's a feature.
I'm going to use this opportunity, everybody. You guys are all brilliant, smart people that use wonderful words that are great at attracting money, like energize and connectivity and engagement and liberalize and all.
Empower.
You have wonderful vocabularies. A lot of those power words don't really mean anything concrete. They're just great ways to get people to give you money. So, with that being said, I'm going to challenge the entire group to avoid using any power words. You're not selling us crap. We're not buying.
Yes, we're not.
I really don't have any money. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm sorry. So at the end of the day, avoid using any power words. This is a tactic for all of you, and it's hard to unlearn this. It is very hard. Let me wow you with my pitch. I have a great thing. Let's liberalize and engage and do the whole ecosystem building, blah. No. What is the pain you're trying to solve? What is the value that's there? And connectivity among educators that were not connected before. Now that sounds like something interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being our first victim. I appreciate it. Round of applause.
They were all what you just said, so.
Team 48.
Thank you, Room, for saying what I said on the peer comments. I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyways.
So it's the arrow on the. You can go. Here, I can do it.
I just updated it.
So as a reminder to all teams, everything that's posted at 7 a.m. is what you'll present. So if you update it, it'll be what was posted at 7. And also as a reminder, I don't want anyone to delete anything because you'll see if someone changes it on LaunchPad Central, it'll give an error message for everyone where your presentation is. So it's really important that what you post at 7 a.m. is what you'll present and what will be in LaunchPad Central. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, we are team 48. Okay, we're team 48. We got to do 5 interviews yesterday, 4 in person and 1 over Skype. And we did modify.
Did you have an interview this morning?
No, we had.
Oh, you input it this morning?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Right, yeah. And we did change the description of our product to make it more specific, that we are actually developing a software to educate on topics of fuel cells and hydrogen technology. Let's see. So we got to do 2 interviews at the University of District of Columbia, and so the fun fact for the day is that we got 2 tickets on our way back, and while we parked there, so that was fun.
Oh, okay.
So traffic tickets, yeah. So
Parking tickets are important. Good learning.
yeah.
Pay your fee. Keep going.
Right. And so what we one of the things we discovered is that employers, so we were looking at that.
employers yesterday?
We talked to one.
Who?
Somebody in the room here, another team, and we found a mentor who has a company in renewable energy.
I applaud your creativity. Keep going.
Okay, right. We were looking at developing materials to actually educate new recruits in training them in fuel cells and hydrogen technology or renewable energy. But what we also found out was one of the challenges they have is to actually find graduates who already have problem-solving ability. They're like book smart, but they cannot think through things and solve things and hands-on. So we're looking at, that's a pain for them.
I'm going to make a point here. I'm actually going to ask the room. Does anybody see anything, I'm picking on you on purpose, does anybody see anything wrong with the statement, employers in the renewable energy field, based on what he just told me? It is a generalization. Thank you. Because you talk to one employer.
Right, it's a hypothesis at this point, right?
Point being,
Right,
one employer, and it's a great finding. I'm not discounting it.
right.
So I'm just building the point from yesterday. Let's avoid generalizations, because this is something that will happen to all of you in your head. All right, and it's real easy as you're running through this whole process. Okay, we've got this thing, let's go chase this down. And I understand it, I've been through it, I get it. Be very careful not to let one data point
Right.
just drive your thinking in one direction. And I'm using this word
Right.
as an example, but be careful with it, and this is for everybody, okay? Keep going. I mean,
Right, okay.
not discounting the learning, good, but
Okay.
let's keep going.
Okay. And then what we also saw was, so we talked to a professor in mechanical engineering, and one of the challenges he had was they've been introducing new courses into the curriculum. So the courses that, material that they used to cover in 2 courses, they have to now cover in one semester. So what they would like is supplemental educational material that could be covered outside the classroom by the students.
So let me ask you to reframe that. Instead of saying what they would like, what is the pain?
The
What's
pain
the
for
problem?
them, right,
Yeah.
so, right here, as I say. So the pain is that they want, the pain is covering a lot of material and having less amount of time to cover it. So that's the pain for them. And also another pain is they want students to learn more concepts, but they don't have enough time to teach them all that. So that's the pain.
So, and that's your learning. So you don't know what the solution is yet, but you're
Right.
uncovering what some problems and needs are.
Right,
Okay.
exactly, yeah. And let's see, right, so we got to we have one data point to validate that a subscription-based educational software.
How much?
Structure. He said 50 at first, then he went back to 20 to 30. So that's what he told us.
Is that what he spends now?
He doesn't spend on it right now, so it'll be
How did
something
they
new.
purchase, how does the professor
Right.
purchase?
So he's the department chair, and
Okay.
he said he gets to make the decisions about purchasing new material. And he thought about it, and he came back and talked to us. He said,
So he already bargained down the price with you? He self-bargained himself down?
well, we sat down and talked to him, and then we stepped out, and then he came out and came to us.
Help me understand this for a
Right.
minute.
Right.
He's willing to pay for a subscription for what, your software?
Yeah, so,
Were you selling
no, we,
your, careful,
right.
were you selling your software yesterday?
No, we're not.
You just told me
Right.
he's willing to pay for a subscription for your software.
Right. It came down to it. So we started with an inquiry-based interview, and then he asked us, okay, what do you have? And so then we told him what we have. And then we stepped out, and he came back out, and he said, okay, well, we would like to actually make it a subscription.
I would stop.
Right.
Stop. Okay. I understand how this happens. Right now, for everybody. Even if somebody asks what you have,
Don't tell
do
him.
not tell them.
Okay.
And this is critically important for everyone. It's so hard to not do. I know. It's just sales. It's easy to please, even though, no. Do not do it. And why I'm saying this is, if somebody asks you, here's a strategy for everyone. You know what we're exploring right now? I just want to talk about you and your pains.
Okay,
That's it. And I'll come back to you when I have something ready that I feel is appropriate to show you.
right,
But right now, I'm here to learn.
okay,
But the follow-on is, they were willing to give you money
right,
the first time they met you. So clearly, you have identified a pain.
right,
You have identified a need. Now you
Right.
keep pushing on it. There is a market or a customer base out there. Keep exploring it.
right,
Yep.
okay, great, yeah,
And if there's
Yeah.
really a pain, I had said this in office hours yesterday. If there's really a pain, you have more than one chance to make a sale.
right,
You do. If it's really painful, you can go back later.
He also said he had hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend as a
Well, you know what? If you come in tomorrow and he just gave you 100 grand, I'll shut up. Right now,
right.
No, but he said that as a part of the discussion.
understood, understood. Let's keep moving on.
Right. So one of the questions we have for us to explore next is, so this is a smaller university, they're more teaching-based rather than research-based, and their population is lower. So we want to discover if larger universities have the same kind of mentality or not, or if they're not open to it, or to educational.
So that would be a customer segment.
Right.
A way of segmenting this customer
Okay, so we could split it
by
into
teaching-oriented versus research-oriented.
research. Great. Okay. Great. We also got to interview a student and who is a senior in engineering, and we asked the student what are her challenges in learning, and one of the things she said was the complex concepts in engineering. That's usually her pain. So it's more challenging, and that's what makes her like the topic more. And so I asked her, like, if you could between like audio, visual, experiential problem solving, what kind of method would you like? And she said, if I can visualize what I'm being taught that's complex, I would learn much better.
Is this the type of learner? Visual versus textual learner?
Yeah.
It might be an interesting hypothesis to get into. So these are nuggets. You guys are finding out great information. These are nuggets. Start thinking about them in those contexts. So we have like a minute left. Let's go to your campus and make a point. Do you know what you need to do with this for tomorrow?
Yes, so break up.
Just answer me.
Right, yes, yeah.
Do you know what you need to do tomorrow? With
yes.
this slide?
Yeah.
Take it from LaunchPad Central?
Take it directly from.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Second thing, who are you going to talk to today? How many interviews do you have set up?
We have 2 interviews set up today.
For 7 hours?
Well, I've,
Yes?
yes.
Answer
well,
the question.
Yes, yeah.
No,
No? You have more?
we are going to university and we will have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 interviews.
So you're going to grab people off the street?
Right.
Got
We
it.
will,
Okay.
We did yesterday.
That's fine. That's
we have
fine.
1 set up at the university, and we are going to go there early enough to
Okay.
interview
All
a
right.
lot more people.
So
I'll
a
just ask the question.
couple comments from the peer comments. Thanks, everyone, for being so proactive. Take a look at them because there's others that are having similar findings. They want to reach out to you and share
great.
notes. And the other is, and this is to the room, and you have comments and peer comments, please change the font on your slide so that it's readable. So you have dark font on dark background and small.
Yeah, get rid of the background.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, y'all.
Thank you.
Team 49.
I do. Thank you.
You can start when you're ready.
Good morning. Based on yesterday's suggestions, we made some changes. We talked more about what we've actually provided in the past and what we would try to provide today. So what we've done is provide the parts to build sensors, the instructions to build sensors, and that's what has been very successful in our past history. So that is our product. I know yesterday that I didn't do a very good job of that. Our business model canvas The biggest.
Actually, I want to go back to the previous slide. So how many people did you talk to yesterday?
We had 3 interviews yesterday for a total of 4 people.
And you had a couple, I'm noting, a couple of those were by phone, right?
Not by one was supposed to be by phone, one was supposed to be face-to-face, and the gentleman had a change in his schedule.
Understood. I'm not gonna dive down into this. Everybody knows we want as many in person as possible.
Yeah.
And we're doing that for a reason. But I understand, I read your write-ups, I thought it was good. Obviously,
you.
you had some decent information from this person, good. And quality's great, but at the end of the day, you want to look somebody in the eye. I'm just making a
Correct.
point, you know this, just
Correct.
want to point it out. All right, so anyway, keep going.
So on our customer segments, when we met several weeks ago and started putting the business model canvas together, we knew that STEM high school students might be a little sketchy. After our first 6 interviews, and especially one of the people that was in the 2-person interview, kids that want to do this kind of stuff are already out there doing it. They're not looking for another opportunity. So we changed our segment to STEM educators, providers in an informal setting. And one of the interviews I have today is with a person that's high at a state level in 4-H for Cornell Cooperative Extension, and hopefully we can explore that customer segment a little bit more. That was our only change on the business model canvas.
How do you know that students who want this are already doing it? How do you know that?
I'm a classroom teacher, and I know my really advanced students are out buying Radio Shack kits. They're doing crazier stuff. And one of the gentlemen we interviewed yesterday, Maurice, talked about how one of the issues in his district is the really advanced kids are ahead of the teacher because they've already gone out and built their own computers and bought their own parts. And
do you think it's possible that that would vary from district to district, state to state, region to region? Do you think those opportunities for children will shift depending on where they are?
We thought about that, but at the end of the day, we thought we would be better off researching the other group. Do you think we should put it back? If that's where you're going, I'm okay with that.
Jump in for a minute. I think, so to Ann's point, or sorry, Heidi's point, and especially since you're a teacher, so you have a population cap, this goes for a lot of you guys, right? I mean, you have your customers with you a lot of the time. Yeah. You have your own little ecosystem in the sort of greater market around you. And so
Correct.
it's easy and understandable to say, you know what, we confirmed what we already thought with one interview guy, and we're just gonna kill it and go focus in other areas. I'm not saying focusing in other areas is bad. I understand strategically why you might do it. What I don't want anyone to do in the room is this early in the game, after one data point, kill something. Now, in office hours or something like that, we can discuss sort of where this might be heading.
Okay.
But that's sort of just a general global statement. Be careful about throwing baby out with the bathwater just on one data point.
Yeah, and one of the things you clearly said was that advanced students were doing this.
Correct.
So what about the other students?
I don't want to sound, as a classroom teacher, I don't want to sound jaded. So if you want us to put that back in, we'll put that back in.
No, but I'm
Continue to
asking a
pursue.
question. Is it just the advanced students?
I have 250 students a year, and about 15 of my students are out pursuing their own academic options, and I'm really struggling to keep the other 220, interested in programming and higher level things.
So might
So we
that
would
still
need-
be a viable, so might STEM high school students still be viable minus the advanced?
Our question was our question was that larger population that isn't buying it now, we didn't feel they'd be making the purchasing decision. So
Okay, you didn't feel that, but you need evidence for that.
from talking to, okay, all right, point taken.
Yeah.
Point taken. I don't want to lose all my time on that. I'd like to learn more if we can.
And one more thing, it's not what we want, it's not what we want you to put back in. You have to make that determination based on your facts, your numbers, your discovery.
Okay. But your input is extremely valuable to us. That's why we're here.
Let's keep going.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's not a blah, blah, blah. But anyway, current value proposition canvas. We worked on this a lot together yesterday. We listened to what you said to other people about the gains and the pains. Next generation science standard is a pain for a lot of districts. How are they going to address that? Our product, we didn't, of course, talk to them about our product, but what came up yesterday was addressing national standards in the interviews, and we felt pretty good that that's a pain for a lot of our potential customers, and that was something that we could do for them.
So I want to point out, I think you guys did a good job on this, so thank you for going through that
Thank you.
exercise and making a solid effort. I'm going to ask, I'm testing what I think you already know, but I'll ask anyway. What does high cost of new materials and tools mean? What is the cost per student? Do you know that?
Yeah, I do, and it depends a lot on district. I was a little surprised yesterday. Every district we talked to was either Perkins grant or some other foundation grant. So the school district in one case had no budget for things like this. It was all done through a Perkins grant. That cost varies by district. In my district, it runs about $25 per kid. In the district we were in yesterday, it was probably substantially more than that, but it was covered by a Perkins grant. So that's something that we're continuing to learn.
So I think the question is, what's our cost per student?
Our cost per student could be as low as $10, depending on what the district has already for technology.
What's the high end?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to, thank you for clarifying, work with your mentor a little bit, but I think that was an interesting finding. And to Heidi's point,
Correct.
the different districts and cost, that's critical for you guys to scale, right?
And we're asking that question more and more because it's,
So you can talk to anybody like that today, in districts?
yes, we have 4 teacher interviews, or 4 school district interviews, and then we have the 4-H interview.
All right, cool. Keep going.
And next week I have a conference that I'm at, and Liesel's at another conference. We were hoping to get another 10 to 12 educators out of that, so.
Is it possible that who you think you will serve and who you are serving, that will change?
That's what I was trying to get at yesterday, and I didn't do a very good job of it, but I'm trying really hard to figure out who else is out there.
Okay, great.
So we felt really positive about the pain that was out there addressing national standards and the NGSS, and we can address that for folks. One of the issues was professional development and how do you get there. We have done online or face-to-face, so we were good with that. We were very impressed. All the districts we were at yesterday really encourage face-to-face. They either send their teachers out or have people come in and talk to their teachers. This was our first time at the current value proposition canvas, so if you have any other comments on where we put things.
Talk about it in office hours. Keep
Okay.
going.
Thank you, Lindsay. Customer discovery hypothesis. We were thinking that teachers would have a lot of input on implementing new STEM education programs. So we went out and we asked teachers, and yesterday I actually had the opportunity to ask a couple people that administrated those programs. And what we thought is what we heard, and we also heard there's a big emphasis on, right now, on national accreditation. Some of the things are recommended to the school districts. Teachers are looking for hands-on projects, and they want to address the next generation science standards, which we can help them with.
Where did the informal part come about? Is that something somebody suggested yesterday?
It's something that Charles learned through some of his work with the Asbury Park School District. Boys clubs, girls clubs are looking for some STEM initiative. 4-H on the national level is looking for some STEM initiative. I was doing some research with what Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are doing, and there's some STEM initiative out there too.
What is the value or the pain point that they're trying to solve?
They're trying to keep a kid in a good place and keep them interested.
So it's,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say, so to them it's more than a trend, more than the STEM trend.
Yes. Yeah, they've got a higher goal.
Have you begun to explore what that organizational goal is to each of them? What is their agenda?
And that's what I'll talk about in my interview today, and then Charles has an interview in Asbury Park
Do you
next
guys
week.
have an interview set up with one of the national
Informals
councils?
today, yes.
Okay, good, good job.
Yep.
All right.
So what are we going to do next? We're going to talk to more people in our customer segments. And today we have 4 interviews scheduled for sure, and we're trying to hustle in a 5th. And I'm very positive about the number of interviews that we'll have set up in the next 2 weeks.
Very good.
So good peer comments. I think you recognize that your personal experience and your personal opinions are influencing some of what you're finding.
I'm trying really hard not
Yes,
to.
and so there's some recommendations. Try and interview people not like yourself.
I
to get-
definitely did that
Yes,
yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is also a comment that contradicts the teaching team, so it's always fun to read those, so.
I just want to say that everything you see on the news about big city schools, I didn't see yesterday. All the districts we were at, the people were wonderful, their facilities were great. It was a great experience for me just to get out there and see what it's like.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Journalists have an agenda, yeah.
Team 50.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. We took the feedback.
One
Hi,
moment.
sorry. We took some of the feedbacks that we received yesterday, and the first thing that we had to do is we worked our the framework that we had for line of questioning, and instead of asking them would they like what we have and stuff of that nature, we kind of found out what are your pains, what are some of the things that you're looking for in terms of mentoring your students.
How hard was that for you to do?
It was not as bad as I thought it would be
Okay,
because
fair
we had
enough.
our questions
Fair enough.
lined up.
Good.
So it worked out, and then we made our statement a little more, in line of what we're trying to do. So it's an interactive web-based and mobile tools designed to increase retention and provide mentoring and career path opportunities for students in STEM. And we did 6 interviews yesterday. And you cannot see the canvas.
So, okay, best practice. Thank you for doing what we said. Good. Blow up the value proposition, customer segments, so we can all see it. That's fine. I have to, I'll get this wrong. I'm gonna have to ask this question. All of your interviews were at Howard University, correct?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Who we targeting? Are we
No,
seeing
I
the same?
can read what happened.
Okay.
I've harped on this enough. Room, anybody have a comment on what does it mean to talk to one institution? Celeste?
We didn't seem to understand something about that institution, but not necessarily about other institutions, because cultures are different everywhere.
Right, and that was one of the questions we asked in office hours yesterday. If our strategy of hitting
Thank you, by
an
the way,
institution
Celeste.
by institution, or and covering them, and then move on to the next. If that's
And that's a
what we
perfect strategy. I just want to point it out. I'm not saying, I don't want to see more from Howard University tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, anyway, keep going.
Well, we have some set up.
With Howard University again?
Yes, we have some scheduled.
That's okay. So, all right, we'll see what happens.
Well,
Go
let
ahead.
me ask you, who did you talk to in the institution of
We
Howard?
talked to associate deans, department chairs, assistant chairs, recruitment and retention officers.
From different disciplines?
Yes, different disciplines within, we had engineering, chemistry, physics, biology, different areas.
And what did you find? Was there similarity or differences?
There's some differences within departments in terms of how they, some of the programs that they're trying to use in terms of mentoring and some of their concepts. And for example, in one area, they use a model where they have the students paying a subscription for a particular program, but putting it a part of the tuition. In another area, the department is paying for that subscription.
Is
So
it
different
about how they
models.
pay? That's the difference?
Not just how they pay, but also some of the pains that they're having in terms
Okay.
of retention.
So tell me what you learned
Okay.
about these different groups within Howard. And I did see this on your interviews online, and,
Okay.
we do read these things. That's why I like them here. So, which one of those groups was a chair of engineering or associate dean? Which one had the biggest, from just your first blush, pain point on the mentoring side?
The engineering had the biggest problem because they had 2 challenges. They had students who lost interest a certain part in the program. They didn't understand why they lost interest in the program. And in other aspects, they had challenges because the students couldn't pass calculus. So they were giving us 2 different things. It's either the academics part or just an interest in the
Which was the
field
biggest
itself.
problem for them?
Academics, the calculus part.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's good learning. It'll be interesting to see how you validate that. That could be, might be a reflection that comes about later on.
Yes.
All right, good job. Keep going.
Okay. Move along from the campus. Did you have a question? Okay. And so we did our value proposition canvas, and we look at some of the benefits to mentor students, provide access to resources such as internship opportunities for students, STEM career options, because one of the things that they were saying is that the students didn't understand if they're taking biology, it's not just to become a medical doctor, but that there are other aspects, different career paths, and they needed something to teach those students what those different options are. And they didn't have any mechanism within their department or their college to do that for students. And one of the main thing for them was to increase retention, because especially in engineering, as I explained earlier, they were having problems keeping their students either because of academics or because of...
So curious, do you know what their retention rates are or the retention targets are?
The retention rate from...
Well, we don't have an overall institutional retention rate even in the science.
Well, you should ask, so ask if you're talking to department chairs or administrators, ask the question. Because now you understand what the target is.
Okay. We did ask one group that, but...
Just a gentle reminder too that the EL is to respond to no one else.
Thank you. The features, they wanted to see more industry and more industry mentors, because they felt like students didn't want their faculty member to be a mentor, because those are the faculty that teaches them. They don't want to be mentored by the faculty. They wanted someone else outside, probably an alumni or someone in the industry.
Why?
Because a student would more understand or be mentored into, if they match with a mentor in their career field.
I understood that, but why do they not want to be with faculty?
Well, they said the faculty are the ones who are teaching them in the class. They may have an issue with the way the professor delivers the class material, so they don't want to mix.
What is the pain that having a professor mentor them is for them? Or, I mean, surely there's a couple.
Well, one of the things that they mentioned was that they were afraid for the faculty to know the issues, the problems that they were having. So they were afraid to be unmotivated.
That'll be interesting. Are you going to talk to more students, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we're going to do some students.
Were you surprised by that?
Yes. Yeah, that was a bit surprising.
Good learning. Cool. Keep going.
And I'm not feeling question, but I saw you.
Yes. Okay, good read. Students, you have interviewed how many students so far? Because they are your customers.
Students, that's our next.
Okay, good.
But we'll do the administrators first, and then we're doing students, just to get their understanding.
Just wanted to double check, because that your canvas reflects that the students are the customer segments.
Right.
And you've been talking about what you have discovered through talking with administration. Yeah.
Right. So the students are our next group.
Okay.
The experience is that students want to feel motivated to persist in the STEM fields. And it makes students feel like they have unlimited career options. The customer, increased retention, student graduating on time, and a big thing was that there's some social good for them helping the students matriculate to their programs, especially on time.
All right, I'm a jaded university person. So, did any of the administrators talk to you about how retention impacts their department?
That was their main. Yeah, that was their main.
They talk about how big of an issue the differences are in retention and how that impacts their funding?
We didn't delve down into that much.
That's a pain point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, might be worth getting into.
2 minutes.
So with relating to metrics, so going back to your comment about partnering with industry. So where you can connect that to, keep drilling down on that, because it's about placement rate, right? So students graduate and they move on to a career path. And so they're probably tracking that too. And so asking not just about theoretically, wouldn't it be nice if there were industry partners, but it actually connects to helping them meet metrics as well. So continue to drill down when you get the high level response.
Is it possible also that your connection between mentorship and retention is something that is a hypothesis and not a known?
It's a hypothesis at this time.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
That's what we're testing right now.
Okay.
So the needs are for an affordable, comprehensive retention strategy for every department and every college we spoke to. Their problem was that they were trying different things and throwing them to the wall to see if they stick, but they didn't have any mechanism of knowing if these things work. Other ones seeing any, anything to show that what they were doing was working. For example, they had a program where the students have to review 3 chapters of a particular book online, and they said if the student were able to grasp the material within those 3 chapters, that it said that the student would stay in the program.
So I'm going to break in for a minute. We have a minute left, and I want to find out what you're doing tomorrow. You're telling me a lot of really interesting data, a lot of interesting pain points. I mean, I'm hearing all these little nuggets. I'm looking on the Canvas. Make sure you update those pain points in the Canvas for tomorrow, because I think you guys are digging into the right stuff, but go through the exercise. And it is an exercise, everybody. We recognize that. But go through the exercise of forcing yourself to think about that and putting the value props up. So, all right, thank you very much. Good job, guys.
And good comments. Your comments. There are folks who have experience in mentoring programs, so take a look at that.
Yep.
Team 51. It's the one on the right. Yep.
All right. Great. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good day so far.
Give me 1 second.
Yep.
You guys ready? All right, please. Thank you.
All right. So yesterday we interviewed 4 people, which brings our total to 12. We talked to 3 people that work as design researchers in a consulting capacity. 1 that is a UX designer, and 2 that basically do what's called service design, which is focused on the entire experience of the customer from like your first interaction with them to the end. So, and the other person we talked to is a graphic designer that's looking to integrate design research into her practice.
I want to point out, you guys have some of the best written write-ups I've seen yet for customer interviews. Good job. Please continue.
Yeah, just to note, my PI, she took notes, and we also recorded all of our interviews and took some pictures, of course with the participants' permission. So we have quite a bit of documentation. All right, so customer discovery, some of the things that we learned by talking to our participants yesterday. One of the big things was that we thought that design researchers would be searching for new methods in order to expand their skill set. And to some extent that's true for novice, the person that's looking to bring design research into her practice. But when we talked to the more expert researchers, they were more looking at how to adapt the methods they know to new situations. And so to do that, they looked for analogous projects to help them figure out, like, how does this work in this particular context? So that's something that we want to keep kind of looking at, like, how do people actually advance their skill set? Because, when we first started, our hypothesis was we give them more methods and they'll find the methods they need.
So what did they value about advancing their skill set?
Sorry,
what was the value to them of advancing their skill set, in their words?
Yeah, so what did they say? So the skill set, I'm trying to think, like, let me tell you a little bit.
Where did this come from?
Where did this come from?
These are your words, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'll tell you where this came from. Okay. So as we mentioned yesterday, we did a fair amount of customer discovery before we got here. So based on that, I put together a card sort and had them go through. These are basically lists of jobs that we'd pulled from our previous customer discovery and had them prioritize them in terms of what was important, what was difficult, and could use some more support on. So,
what's on the top of the deck?
What's on the top of the deck?
Yeah. What's the number one thing?
This one I added today, because one of the things that I do with card sorts is, of course, have some blank cards. so that if we forgot something, they could add them. And when they were going through, one person in particular, Clay, when he was going through, we were talking a bit about what he's looking for in terms of hiring new talent, because he's an expert. He's the director at Pure Insight, which is a consulting firm in the area. And he said one of the things he was looking for was adaptability. And when we asked him about that, he said, well, we have to adapt methods. We always see new situations. So we have to be able to apply them.
So that's what I'm getting at. What is the value for adaptability? Why do they want to do that?
Yeah, because every project that they do is different and has a different context.
Right, but that's a feature of what's the value to that person?
You mean like, how do they feel about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Why is it valuable to them?
That they can do a better job.
Okay.
So that they feel like they're getting the right insights from their own customer discovery.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's the value behind being able to adapt it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and the other two people that we talked to that were not what I would say full experts were also, of course, looking to expand their skill set. One, because she wanted to start positioning herself as a service designer instead of a design researcher, and so she was.
She's trying to find a new path.
She's trying to change her path. Yeah, she's essentially it's not exactly a career change, but it is a little bit of a career change.
What is the economic impact poor skills have on design researchers and firms?
That's something that we're still looking at.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly. I do know from...
In terms of time hours.
In terms of time hours, I think it has more to do with quality and outcomes.
Sure does.
Yeah.
And what is the lack of skills?
That means...
How does that impact?
Yeah.
You already answered the question.
Okay.
I made it for a point. This is something for everybody to think about, right? You're talking about implementing something that's scalable. You know, at some point, start thinking about cost of doing business, even if it's not business. There is a time value of money that goes into all this stuff, and with skills development, that can often be one of those value props.
Which actually leads me to my next learning.
Outstanding. Let's see it.
So the next thing that we were talking about with them was this expansion of skill sets and things like that. And we asked them about how they go about doing that. And each person we talked to, or like how they got into design research and became a design researcher, and each person had a very different story. And so what we kind of pulled from that is that there isn't really a coherent path to this. Like some people do it by having multiple different previous jobs. So one person had, I forget what her history was, but she had an MBA and a history degree, I think, and then somebody else had actually studied product design, but somebody else, the third person was like a graphic designer, and so each of them kind of had this like stumbled onto, and that was actually a word that one of our participants used, stumbled into it, and so it isn't something that is well defined on how you get there. There's these intro classes, and this is something else we heard, was that people will find these intro classes on Coursera or through Darden or something like that. They'll have to do a quick intro class and then start sending resumes to places based on that one class.
So if I were to summarize sort of big picture, you've uncovered that people change professions perhaps multiple times in their career. Mm-hmm. And when they do that, they may be moving into another position that requires a different skill set. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, that's the need. And so you need to keep yourself competitive or something. So is that sort of big picture? Because I want to stay away from design at the moment. Too much focused on design research. Mm-hmm. What is the core problem you're
those
facing?
Are definitely those problems. And yes, I would say that is what we discovered.
Right, and so then you should look at customers outside the design community, just for another point of perspective. So right now, I think it's too close to your own research. In fact, you're using your techniques. Mm-hmm. So I think you need to expand who your customer base, who you're talking to, because it's not clear to me what the issue is. What's the challenge? What's the pain? Where's the value coming from?
Okay, so, I mean,
so if there's other findings. Go ahead.
Yes, okay, so the other thing that we learned was that a chunk of what design researchers do, because this is who we talked to, was teaching design research to their clients or coworkers, and that part of that is working with other companies to develop design research capabilities within those companies. So Peer Insight, for example, 30% of their revenue comes from helping set up innovation teams at other companies. We also, talked a bit.
How long does that take?
Well, it depends.
I know it depends.
Yeah, so their basic engagement is usually about 4 months, and if that works, then they might do another one. But they do it in little chunks because things change a lot, and so they do it chunk by chunk.
Okay, cool.
We also found out that Capital One recently acquired
I can read the slide,
Yeah.
it's cool. Let's move forward.
Okay.
With 1 minute left, can you tell us what is your plan for today?
Yeah, so we had some interviews already scheduled. We are talking to somebody from the University of Maryland that is working with Dean, actually, on the Innovation Center to see about, what are they doing and is there potential for supporting their efforts. Who else are we talking to? I don't know, we're talking to a UX designer and we're talking to the CIO of Peer Insight to get one more perspective. We're also working on scheduling interviews with product managers.
How many people are you talking to today?
Today we originally had 4 scheduled, somebody canceled, so we're trying to see if we can pull somebody else in, but we're still working on that.
Yep.
But she rescheduled to tomorrow, so I have 2 tomorrow afternoon.
Good job, guys. Humera, good comment on the peer comments about revenue and time of design. I encourage you guys to take advantage of everybody's learning, so very good. Yep. Thanks, guys. Thank you.